We start off chapter 12 with Walter and Marjorie coming back together. Not coming back together, but the book goes back into them, and it's discussing more about Walter's feelings for Marjorie and all that. And now, eventually, he's finally fed up with her and everything that she's done to him, even though it's like, you're the one treating her poorly. But that just shows more into how Walter's character is like. So he's in his own world with everything. It's just he's just so disconnected from what other people feel, and he's just whatever he wants is what he gets anyway, or what he deserves, I guess is what I should say. Whatever he wants is what he deserves. And in this, he actually admits that it'd be easier if Lucy, or not Lucy, but if Marjorie were to die. And he's, oh man, that's just such a disconnection from caring about her at all. And it's like, and it's, I mean, it's not even just apathetic anymore as it was. It's now he's actually wishing harm against her so that it's easier for him to do what he wants. And it's the development into that is just, it's just weird. But he gets a newfound kind of hurrah with it, you know. He's trying to you know, get with Lucy still, and it's it just makes me sick reading about Walter. I don't like reading about Walter. I just give me back to Rampion, and he'll come up. But anyway, after that, we go ahead and, you know, Walter's self-loathing, believing that everything that is happening that's wrong is Lucy's fault, and it's what's Lucy doing to him. We go to Spandrel. Not Lucy, Marjorie. We go to Spandrel now, who is talking to Lucy again, and he's describing. Spandrel is calling Lucy out for what she's doing to Walter, how she's being so mean to him and hateful and leading him on, and but not actually letting him have anything, you know. And he says she's torturing him, and she's like, well, yeah, it's fun. Who cares? Walter's a good sport about it. He really doesn't care. He just likes being around me. And then Spandrel's like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, kind of just this figure of, he's actually trying to tell her that she's doing something wrong by leading Walter on, even though that's exactly what he was bragging about before. So there's some hypocrisy going on with Spandrel, who done guessed it, that his moral character wasn't up to par with how he would expect someone to react, especially when he does the exact same thing that Lucy is doing to various women, not just this one guy, but various women, leading them on back and forth over and over and over again. Anyway, moves on. They start talking political, getting into some more stuff like that, and we find out that Spandrel is indeed a communist. He's indeed a communist because he believes that the whole body is more important than the individual. And that right there, the way he's painted in this light, as being not necessarily a morally high person, is, I think anyway, Huxley's saying, hey, that's not the right way to think. He's giving all of the ideas, Huxley's giving all the ideas that he disagrees with to Spandrel. And then he's painting Spandrel in a bad light. And, but it goes back to also Spandrel so worried about his, doesn't know what to do. He's wasting time doing all that kind of stuff. And it's really interesting because he's so against the individual of himself too. You know, he doesn't think he can be anything as an individual. And I wonder if that's where this sense of the greater whole is more important, because he realizes himself as an individual is nothing. But whenever he's in a group, he can be associated with that group, and then he can, you know, be put on the same pedestal as this group might be put on if this group was successful and intelligent and everything. That's the people he surrounds himself with, is the intelligent, rich, successful people. And it's as if that's what he's trying to become, is one of those, even though he knows he can't. And Spandrel's a weird dude. He goes on to talk about science. And he uses Illich specifically. He uses him as an example of what Illich believes. And he calls Illich's view of science, anyway, as a religious kind of feeling towards science, in that, he is so willing to accept figures like Newton, who for hundreds of years his laws were law. I mean, yeah, no one questioned them, no one went up against them. That's just how it is. But then here's a fellow named Albert Einstein. Remember, this book was written in the 1920s, so Einstein's relatively new in the minds and in the science in general. And he's coming up with these new outlandish ideas, and Illich is, Spandrel says Illich is going against it because it's something completely new and different, and just like a religious zealot, he's going against it, and he doesn't believe in it, and he's just fighting against it because it's different. It's not what he's used to. It's new stuff that's discovered, it's discovered. But he's so stuck in his old ways of how the world works that he doesn't want to change his mind. He doesn't want to change his view into it. And that's a very unscientific way to be, especially for someone who claims to be a scientist like Illich. It doesn't really go into anything about how Illich actually is. This is Spandrel talking about Illich, so it may not necessarily be true, but I wouldn't doubt it if it was true. It wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, that's basically how the chapter ends. Let me look at my notes. Yeah. Oh, all of this this talking that Spandrel's doing about science and about ideas and all this. He's just talking. Obviously, he doesn't actually do anything. He's lazy. And then Lucy actually calls him out on this, and it's really funny. Just the way she does it, and it makes me actually appreciate Lucy just a little bit. Of course, then again, Lucy is also not necessarily a character I connect with in any way. It's just kind of funny whenever these characters and these men are like going on and on about what's right and what's good and what you should and shouldn't agree with, and then the women are like, "You're just talking. Just shut up. You're not. If you actually believe that, if you actually think anything like that, do something." And it's just, it's awesome to have the women calling out all these guys, It's just, anyway, that's the end of chapter 12. On to chapter 13. Okay, so in chapter 13, we are introduced to Walter confronting Burlap about being paid more. He's wishing to actually be compensated what he thinks is fair. Marjorie's dogging him about it, wanting him to get more pay so that she can afford to dress up and be more of the woman that he might want, is actually her motivation. And that's very interesting because she's just trying so hard for him, and he, like we discussed in the previous chapter, just wants her to die. That's basically as simple as it is at this point. He just wants her to be dead. And it's again, still blows my mind. Anyway, we go to Walter and Burlap, and Walter has this confidence going up to Burlap. It's like, "Hey, I deserve more pay." And Burlap is, "Well, yeah, you do. I wish I could." And he twists it around, and he makes Walter feel good for sacrificing so much and not being paid so much, and yet doing the work anyway. And Walter then feels bad that he even asked for it. And it's like one of those it's just one of those people. Burlap, it just is one of those people who can just flip things around on you and make you feel bad for even asking for anything in the first place. It's just, I hate people like that. It's just, it's bad. Anyway, he goes on. So Walter goes on without being paid anymore, and he's happy with it and fine with it, but then pissed off later because he's like, "Oh, I was weak." And it's like, well, no shit, you were weak. He just gave up on him. I mean, he has this realization, and it's directly after that, it continues and goes more into Burlap's love life. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go into Bova. Scratch that part. Edit this out. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it goes into more of his actual character. We were introduced to him during the party, and he was very quiet. He was very timid. But in this one, he's much more in the setting of the paper and being in the office. He's much more excited. He's much more full of life and really wanting to live life. But he's never actually able to live it out. He's always talking about how awesome life is, and he's always writing about it, and he's always publishing things that exemplify life and everything, and also publishing things that have women's names attached to them because he wants to sleep with them. But anyway, he he creates this narrative with his paper that really shows shows that he's so caring about life, and the things that are living life to the fullest is something that he always says but never defines. You know, it's just one of those things where he thinks if he throws enough excitement into anything, it will become exciting for everyone, and that's just not the case, obviously. Then we also get more into some of his motives for that also, and a lot of that motive comes from just wanting to sleep with women. That's all he wants. So he surrounds himself, he hires employees that adore him and will do anything for him. A woman works for him that without pay, completely without pay. There's another woman who works for him with pay, but has seen through his charade and is now pissed off with him, and he wants her gone, but he has no reason to fire her, so therefore he can't. And it's absolutely hilarious. But in his romantic endeavors, he always seeks out women that will be like a mother to him. And we'll see it later on, a couple chapters down the line, that he's always after a motherly figure that will coddle him and take care of him. He's definitely got mommy issues. It's really weird. His first wife was that character for him, and it sounds like, and it even describes her in his, it describes the relationship as like an Oedipus complex, and very weird how he's trying to be the son with his mom, and it's weird. So we go through that. We get introduced to Burlap, or we get more defined into Burlap. We go back to Walter, and Walter has now gone to Lucy's house in order to have his way with her. In a sense, that's his. He's just mad. He's just upset and angry, and he's going to go and get her finally. And he goes and he forces himself into her home, and he forces himself kind of on her. Doesn't rape her at all, but kind of pushes and pushes and pushes, and is kissing her and touching her and doing all this, and she's enjoying it. She's just about ready to, as the book says, give in or succumb, or what the actual word was, I don't know, but they're about to be in the act, and then a bird in the corner in the cage goes, squawks, and scares the living crap out of Walter. That makes him stop, and it is hilarious. Oh, it is so funny, because he's so close, you know. He's just like, oh, he's doing everything that, if you're a reader wanting him to get with Lucy, you're just like, just have her, because she would be okay with it. Like, I mean, just make a move, you know. Don't rape her, obviously, that's terrible, but make a move on her. Just she'll accept if you make a move, because honestly, that's how the book describes her, as that kind of girl to do that, you know, to just be okay with it. And there is a feeling that she has for him, you know. Is this going to go into a healthy relationship? No. Do I want her to get with Lucy? No, I kind of want him to die, because at this point, whenever he's doing this, in his mind, he's made up that Marjorie has ceased to exist. So now he is going after Lucy, because in his mind, at least, he's accepted that Marjorie is dead. I hate Walter so much. You take this woman away from a man, you get her pregnant, and then you're tired of her. That's it. And then you go for someone else. And he's an asshole. So Walter goes over and covers it up, and then goes back to Lucy, and at that moment, he's frustrated. Illage walks in on them, and Walter's incredibly embarrassed, and so he just rushes out and he just leaves, and it's ha ha, in your face, you're a jerk. So yeah. After they are interrupted, after Walter and Lucy are interrupted, he goes home to Marjorie, and, you know, tries to comfort her that he's late getting home from work, because all this happened after he got off work, and she's happy to have him just back home. She's just relieved that he's there with her, and then she smells Lucy's perfume. or at least she smells an expensive perfume and assumes it's Lucy correctly, and gets mad at him. And this is described as a vicious cycle that they've been going through every time Walter hangs out with Lucy. He comes home smelling like her, and yeah, it's just sad. It's just so sad because time and time again, Marjorie is willing to take him back, and he's screwing it up again. And maybe, he's not screwing anything up he cares about, but it's, at least tell her, like, don't lie to her about it. Just at least say, hey, describe the situation. Just be like, hey, I don't love you anymore. She's going to be upset, but she'll at least have time to get over it. Of course, it says that she has nowhere to go, nothing to do. I mean, at this point, Walter needs to step up and take care of her, but don't lead her on and act like, he still loves her, because that's just, it's probably the worst relationship that Huxley is describing in this book so far that I've seen. It's pitiful. It's pitiful, and it goes into all about what we want versus what we should do, and it's just, and Walter finds himself stuck in the middle, and really not being a part of either one of them, and he's sad. He deserves it though. Anyway, we go on to Spandrel and his mom. We get a glimpse of his mom because his mom comes and visits him and gives him money because he sent for her to do so because he was out and he's a lazy little piece of crap. And we get into why he has this animosity towards life in general, and it stems from, he used to be a child with his mom and had so much fun and enjoyed. His father died when he was really young, but his mom always took care of him. His mom, was never rich until she remarried, and he hated the guy she remarried, and he became just hateful and spiteful towards the whole world. And I'm kind of interested to see how this actually leads to him being a communist, though. I mean, we don't really get specifics as to why, after this happened, he decided to be like he is, join the Communist Party, and be all kinds of stuff like that. But I'm interested to see how he goes from not enjoying his stepfather to where he is now, being so cynical and hateful and lazy and just really hates himself a lot. Maybe he doesn't think he's good enough for his mom now. He feels replaced. Interesting. Anyway, that's how chapter 13 ends. And it's a pretty good one. It was a pretty good chapter. Pretty dense. Yeah. End of chapter 13. That'll be it for this video. It's already looking like it's 18 some odd minutes or so. That'll be it for this video. Next time we will start with chapter 14, which so far actually is probably one of my favorites. Look forward to a little bit more of Bidlake's family and a little more into John. Not John. There is no John. John Bidlake. A little more into Philip. We learn about Philip. And Philip has a realization. What is it? Tune in next time. No one tuned in this time. Anyway, see ya.